Okay. Today I want to focus more on. So, first things first. Yesterday's last 1 hour stream was a bit like goofy. I just wanted an understanding of what's going on in the market. And my thesis is this: Binance Smart Chain is probably not here to stay. There's just no conviction there. People meme it even. They're like surprised it came back. I don't think so. Ethereum has proven time and time again, even through ups and downs, it always has periods of performance. And there's no real reason to think this time is different. We're just not. Now, it is different in that it's a prolonged dump, but as opposed to quick upside and almost continuous highs that we had previously. So that it is a bit different in that way. But I'm not using my pen right now, so it's a bit messy. But could use it, yeah. Now I will do that. Yeah, I just don't see a world where like, yeah, it could be like meme coins could be finished, and that means there's less place. But here's the thing: ETH doesn't just have meme. That's Solana. Like if meme coins die, Solana is a bit fucked. But the reality is, ETH does have utility memes also, just to a lesser extent. Again, those are really the only two genres I consider, like utility plays and memes. I mean, you can split them up and say AI, some like protocol that's for finance related. I know subcategories are relevant, but yeah, BSC I think has a short-term hype phase right now. Either way, the narrative around ETH stays the same. I think over time, I genuinely believe that. The reason I'm also a bit more convinced is, again, this is just part of it, but it helps put it into perspective. 1,000. The good point. It's over. ETH will never have, like this guy, have its run again. Volume always come when no one is waiting. Like, I have to check something. Like, if we check the Ethereum price, or, well, price is, I think right now it's an anomaly because the money inflow is institutional and very disconnected from altcoins and especially meme coins. Dip right now is kind of drastic, but it's kind of like, look at this. I think this entire period, by the way, I think was decent. Like this right here, I think there were still decent runners. And people have been saying ETH is finished for this entire period, by the way. But no, it's just not as extreme as before, but there's still good runners. Like if you put in the time and I'd say treat it like a job, where, I don't know, you have at least 4-hour shifts of intense studying every day, I'm convinced that you'll find place. Now, as of right now, the debate is not can you catch plays, but is more is there plays? Because there isn't really much at all. But I think we're at the worst point right now, and I think if you sharpen your tools right now, like the market is a competition. So if you sharpen your tools right now, your blade, by the time everyone is convinced to come back, everyone will just have a dull ass blade. So hold on. I have to somehow. How it works. You will beat the fuck out of them. Is that how it works? Kind of, yeah. I mean, there is whatever moons is set in stone. What I mean is there's predictable patterns in the mooners. Like these are hardworking devs. There's a setup. There is a set of criteria that is true, a set of parameters. There are patterns in the small cap mooners, okay? So what would you, this is 23x. My kind of thesis, and the reason, like, I'm just quite attuned to ETH right now. It's silly to move to a different chain. And I was watching this video, a very good video. I want to finish it maybe on stream actually. Oh, it's about to be finished. he talks about patience might be the single most important skill in trading. Now, this is I literally try to practice patience whenever the fuck I can. Like if I'm waiting in line, I don't complain. I just stare at I just do nothing. I think and I wait. I wait for my time to strike. Say I'm waiting at the post office or something. Patience, if you do not have, everyone focuses on execution, and I guess the easy way. Well, Ethereum is a patient game, I think, because there's not that many great plays, and you need a good setup for your plays for it to be, realized and actually become true. And you need to build your pattern recognition. So when you're not patient, you start looking for opportunities elsewhere. So I was theorizing yesterday, should I move to BSC or Solana and do all chains? And the reality is, I think the answer is just no. Not anytime soon. Neither will I move to BSC. I'm convinced Ethereum will come back with time.
All right, my YouTubers.
So anyway, well, we can look at messages. ETH is dead, for example. I've done this before, but it's a good way to put it into perspective. And this is pretty experienced guys. ETH is dead. ETH is king. Solana holds. Why so quiet? This is considered quiet. Let's compare it to now real quick. Oh no. I just set up the shit already in a sec. December. Aha. Oh, they weren't wrong. Like a 2x from their call out. Not bad. My advice when you buy something, never join Telegram. You always end up being manipulated. either to marry the bag or to quit. I have mixed takeaways on this. For someone, I'll do my own take here in a sec. Well, I'll let him, because it can get influenced itself through biasy. But my take is this: I think there is value in blocking out the noise. Noise would be porn gifs, trolling gifs, obvious just spam FUD, but genuine concerns. So you think, but I thought maybe you could get an insight into the holders themselves. If you look at the Telegram, you see a potential for what type of like cult-like mentality they might foster, and there's certain predictability aspects to it as well. If there's multiple team members talking in the Telegram, that can predict Mooner potential if they have like profile pictures that adhere to the project type. If there's legitimate people having conversation, not just bot spam. Like these are predictable factors. I guess maybe just train yourself to cut out the noise. I don't know. The problem is it's kind of hard because like majority of telegrams, unless you kind of very closely try look, it's largely just like largely just people spamming like buy, going to 1 million market cap, hodl, 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 hodl. So maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe it's just not the best predictor, and just to stay away from the Telegram might be the best choice. But I don't think so. I'll put it this way. I think I think you can't really look at it as a TP influence too heavily, take profit. Like, you have to know what market are you in, not the market you want to be in, right? So there's barely any 10, 20x runners that you're TP at like 3x, right? Be realistic. And get in very early. If there is like a bunch of 50, 100x, you can be more like, okay, I will TP at 10x because I think this has the potential, or 50x even. Just think, and it's a calculation of the community that it's fostering, the utility or the non-utility, the narrative. I think there's too many parameters that do matter in the Telegram that can help you make a good decision. Like you said, dev activity. Do they show up consistently, not just at launch? Are they answering tough questions directly? Community depth. Are there real conversations? Quality mods, cult formation. Like, the risk is manipulation. I guess you need to remember that it's not just any, like, it depends. Largely people spamming hodl hodl, we're going to 1 million. Like, largely that's all noise, but if you look closely and there's like real conversation, depth, dev activity, this is the thing. This is noise, and then there's signals, noise versus signal ratio. I think at best, you can slightly tip the balance in disfavor or favor. So if you see things that are not good, like the fundamental, you see the DNA is good of the token, you see everything checks out, the Twitter, but something with the Telegram is not optimal. You can never look at it as a primary source. It is so useful. It's a direct link to the devs themselves. Like, the issue is you can also ask questions about like what they plan on doing, etc. It is a resource. You just need to make sure to never become a community member, I would say. You can LARP as well, but like essentially it's not worth your time to spam the chat and say this is going to 1 mil. There's other people doing that. And it's also, what else? Just be careful. Look for real signals. What are real signals? Repeated on Telegram. The dev is active and willing to answer questions. Slight kind of things about that. The dev has like a profile picture and profile that's suited for the project, as in effort. That's to do effort. Telegram itself looks effortful. There's bots answering and buy alerts, etc. There's just a lot of predictable signals, I think. And again, it is never that simple as this one signal or this thing is like, oh yeah, you should hold it, HODL, it will go to 100 million market cap. But we're playing a game of probability, and there's already a lot of unpredictable factors, but there is predictable factors that you should never cut out predictable parameters, is my point. And learn to kind of understand human psychology, how the dev answers things, how many mods are active, what are the pinned messages. Is there real conversation happening? Like, not just noise. Noise, again, is like hodl. We're going to 1 mil. Trust me, bro. As opposed to real conversation and community depth. And I like that point as well. Part of my strategy, there's no real point selling for peanuts. If you got the call, statistically speaking, we know that there's a decent chance that at some point it will make a reversal based on backtesting results. As opposed to the quote, cut your losses, marry your bag, in that, like, if you're already down, you might as well wait till you at least break even till you sell. And oftentimes they do that. Because again, but yeah, if it's my general strategy is something launches, and the only time that I want to be in it is, try to explain it. Something launches, and there's a couple scenarios that I've noticed repeated over and over and over, and I'll try to explain why they happen, how you can predict them, and how to play each kind of edge case. So the main thing that I see happening is, so far, right, we're talking about the 1 minute candle. That's kind of my strategy. Why the 1 minute? The 1 second candle has just way too much noise, so you might see random like shit, like it's too much with the 1 second. You don't want to do that. The 1 minute candle shows clear signal. So a terrible sign for a coin is, well, we'll start with conditions, like I said. My favorite thing is there's a okay amount of snipes, and that results in a kind of post-launch dump. Depends where. It can be here, it can be here. Like, essentially, you're shooting for 30 to 60%. Now, when is this the case? From memory, if there is at least, if snipers are at least, we'll say around the 10 range, 10 or greater than, but also it's a ratio of buyers. But that's a post signal. And then also it's related to the max buy. And just in general, what does the first chart look like? How inorganic is it? A good first candle is like 5 to, I don't know, 15K or 30, something like that. But a bad one is like 5 to 200K. There will be a massive post-launch dump. Always wait. Post-launch dump in that case, okay? And again, your entry is not going to be perfect. Maybe something will be 20%. When do you re-enter? That's a good question. We can grab an example here, actually. We're going to and we'll look at one of our trades here. Or is it not Microscam? This one. If we open the chart, we'll actually open it on these contracts first. And it had 12 snipes. That aligns. It's, again, a decent percent of, a decent chunk of, like, we're talking like hovering around the 50% range. That's 50%. That's when you know it's like pretty massive. Now max buy is not that great. There's buy and sell tax, so that dissuades selling initially, at least. I don't know how long it lasted though. That's a good question. How long do buy and sell tax usually last? Maybe ChatGPT knows this. Like, I've never really thought about this. It's a relevant question. How long on like the average launch on ETH does buy / sell tax stay? Like, it starts at like 15%. When usually on like utility or meme coins does it go to near 0? I don't know if it knows. It might hallucinate something. I'm not sure. Can you not analyze this? I could. Yeah. How? Block per block, I guess. According to academic research, 88% of contracts that use the launch taxes only keep them for the first 1 to 2 blocks after trading opens. 2 blocks sounds fair. I think it's at least that. So yeah, it's not like 5 minutes. It's not really work like that. Sometimes it does. Anti-bot. So, okay. That's anti-bot. So you think anti-bot measurements, like maybe the tax is like at 80% sell, that usually lasts like a couple blocks. When it comes to just general tax for marketing or short-term, such that volatility is not too great, this can vary maybe, but seemingly it's always less than 24 hours after launch, but I need more specificity there. Okay. So we can just assume that tax matters. Tax matters, obviously. What else? Post-launch dump. So this is the most common signal. It's not 100% accurate, but there's another time that it worked. You didn't open the chart yet, true. But it will confirm what I said. If I open the 1 minute, I always look at the 1 minute. I zoom in, I always play market cap. I look here. Take a look at this. Pretty significant as well. I think also the weaker the narrative, like this is a tweet coin, right? There's no real incentive to stay. I think that's true as well. That should definitely play into our equation, and I need to kind of lock that in my brain. This was a kind of significant dump. I entered, if I remember correctly, at 11K market cap, I think. We're like somewhere around here. I might have been here as well, actually. Might have been a bit delayed. But again, if it's a genuine mooner, the reality is, if you think it has, again, you have to think about your excess potential realistically. Smaller the liquidity is quite small here, so the upside is greater. Yeah, but like not upside, the multiples potential, but you also get more slippage, obviously. But yeah, here we had a easily 75% dump. Now, this does happen, like, but once it gets to like 80, 90 zone, that rarely happens, and the project might be finished at that point. It is actually a bit higher, actually. 75, yeah. And here we got 85. Like, you have to be careful. You can use Fibonacci, but it's like, okay. So let's put that into our equation. Yes, snipes matter. Yes, ratio to buyers matters. Yes, fresh dormant, does that influence it as well? I would say so, yeah. Well, the better these ratios. Well, fresh is dump sensitive, right? So we'll look at another one that we did. What happened to this chart? I bought this like a long time ago, but it was like a shit quarry, so I'm guessing it is finished. So I bought this at, I think I sold it. I must have. But yeah, that was not really the play at all. Again, you need a strategy, and you need to get very fucking good at that one specific, hyper-specific strategy. That's honestly, I think, the best thing to do. Again, who am I? But okay, where was I? More examples there where that was true. I think Micropad was one. Microscum, what happened there? This experience a similar thing from what I remember. But it never really recovered. And the problem is as well, this had, the narrative was shit. So again, it never recovered. I mean, it kind of did here, but no, this is not tradable. Rule of thumb, if it's a 2x on the chart, you maybe get like half of that. So what break even? How would you risk even entering a chart for that? Here, this is a 1 minute candle. Your rule of thumb as well for me is that you never end up beating the first candle or entering there, just because I don't snipe. I think the risk of entering or paying an absurd amount of bribes is just not worth it. Or you could risk you buy, your snipe ends up being filled here in the candle. It dumps before you even know it. You're here, in profit. And slowly it might build back up, but yeah, it's not worth it. So yeah, this had a significant dump. Now this is actually similar, but the reason it never recovered, what were again, when we look at the numbers here, 0 dormant. The ratios with the other project was a lot more healthy and organic. 24 fresh, 24 snipes. When fresh equals snipes and snipes is high, it's a terrible sign, honestly. Statistically speaking, is that a fact? 100% a fact, I think. Micropad. This one actually did a 3x, but I didn't sell for some reason because I got married to the bag a little bit. No, at this point, I didn't understand market conditions, trade the market you're in. Only had 1 snipe, and the ratios are good here, and the utility is decent, so I did not expect a big post-launch dump. And was I right? Again, you're not going to be right. There's going to be shit that you miss, but... And honestly... Well, did you consider this? No, I don't consider that part of it, because look. The difference here is initial candles, and look here. You had ample opportunity. What have you bought here? That's fine. You would have still... Well, it's not fine, actually. Predicted this. I do explicitly remember there being a lack of effort on the dev side. The Telegram was kind of lacking. Dexuals is not paid yet. But yeah, this candle is a bit much, is it? This is not... If it has 200k potential, yeah, it's not... Again, optimally, how many snipes did I have? 1, yeah. 4, so there is a lot of initial buyers though, I will say. 5 minutes, yeah, but you wouldn't know that. Yeah. Is there a way to know, okay, at this point, obviously the trend is just, you could draw a parallel channel here and it's almost perfect, It's just consistently lower lows, lower highs in a smooth fashion. I think after a certain time, it's just Jover. Interesting. So I think the answer here was knowing that they're in that market and this market. Knowing statistically speaking that there is just a lot of, come on, let's be honest, 40k toppers here, 50k, 60k. Entering at a market cap of 25k is just a risk that you might not want to take. That's the knowing the market you're in, not the market you want to be in aspects. I read that somewhere. Do I have that saved in my messages? A great... I don't think I saved it. Really? I didn't? Maybe on X? It's a great post. I've been considering some of my mistakes in trading, and I'm realizing a lot of it comes down to not knowing or forgetting or during execution because of, emotions. I don't know. Forgetting the market you're in, not the market you want to be in, right? If there's a lot of 50, 60k toppers, statistically speaking, it's likely that the one that you're trading now will be that too. Of course, it depends. It could be an edge case that breaks that mold, that breaks the chains, but it's likely. Is there like a famous quote or something? I don't know if I made it up, but I remember someone saying or something somewhere, trade the market you're in, not the market you want to be in, or something. I find anti-sniper stuff quite bullish, I think. Trade the market you're in, not the market you hope to be in. I don't know. I remember that from somewhere. I don't remember where exactly. I think it was Twitter. We'll check real quick. It's not gonna fucking kill you, is it? Not exactly, but cringe. I mean, come on. How do I check my save bookmarks? Let's extrapolate what I was saying to this and see what's your opinion on this. So this is Solana focused, I think, but Stairway to Heaven, this happens a lot as well. I think this is when zoom into the specific snipes tends to not be that high, else you don't see these initial candles. It's kind of an insider launch, so insider type info aligns very well with dormancy, that even with the dormant wallets. And I'm seeing a lack of projects that launch similar to this, a lack of projects that when they don't have a dormant, they I'm not saying a lot of projects when they don't have a dormant, sorry, they don't have this experience. Snipes less than or equal to 10 and equal to a small ratio of buyers. The safer play is looking at snipes. Narrative checks out. Either it's a strong play, holders are incentivized to hold for some strong reason. I don't know. Why is a heavily sniped play different? I would definitely look at this differently, but yeah. Trading goes against human nature. To succeed, you must kill fear and great two things you were born with. Correct. About narrative, something I need to drill in my head is crypto is like, our crypto community are like children. I mean, really, like the most primal parts of the brain are activated for most people when they trade crypto. And part of that is, this looks very boring. Just like full on out, this just looks fucking puts me to sleep. It doesn't even make sense. Clarity universally seems to be a universal aspect of many Mooners in terms of art, in terms of name, in terms of what the token is about. If it's like a puzzle to figure out what the fuck we're even buying, like these are all very clear. Digital guard dog. This one has a. Well, this one might have been. This one is actually one of those not declared one based on name alone. This is like a tweet or something, digital guard dog. So I personally would have assumed this would be a 100k topper, but it depends. Again, it's not binary. Like, again, I'm correct. I mean, 100k. Like, there's a lot of 50k toppers, but I think it's that like crypto Twitter is still kind of alive. So like when something is relatively big in crypto Twitter is not for most normies. I think most normies generally just like hear from a friend of a friend of a friend to buy something. So I think it's kind of not true to say crypto Twitter is the most primal place to buy. What else? What else? Let me think. What are some like interesting normie patterns that you might have noticed universally across all chains? That's an interesting question. Oh, what I just said, clarity, like rudimentary, but like in terms of coloring, like if something heavily relies on art, like this, like, you don't have a clear narrative. Okay, cool, but you can make up for that with cool art and maybe explain it better. But your visual art is a Windows logo that has shit on it and looks like something I'd have in my grandma's basement. Vibrant colors, positive, bullish, probability positive. Bleak colors, probability negative. What else? What else? Rotate back to Telegram and your take on this. I think at best you have a quick check, okay? You make sure that the Telegram is somewhat professional and effort is put in. Telegram, the reality is, it's where a lot of people go before they buy, so it's what people use for signals. So if you can predict what signals people use before they intuitively like do it themselves, obviously, because they're after you, because you get the signal before them because of DRPT, supposedly. You can use that. Talk more about patience and what that could mean for you. And so it's true, man. Like, I would have made a lot more money if I just entered my criteria conviction plays. Maybe a bigger bag, but like less plays that only hit my criteria, and I sell for like a 3x. Again, you don't want to go too big because you might get fucking blacklisted somehow or some shit. But if liquidity is decent, liquidity. How do you measure that? Like, how do you get this amount of liquidity? This means that I can reasonably put in this amount. I mean, again, we're talking usually like $150 is usually fine, unless the liquidity like literally zero. Even if it's 0.3 ETH, I mean, yeah, you'll nuke the chart, but who gives a fuck? Just don't put in like thousands of dollars or thousands or upping multiple hundreds. That's usually a bad idea. What else? Let me take some notes. Okay, so what's something else you've noticed about people in general? About psychology? About psychology? or actually answer like what will you do if DRP dies? Okay, it's actually a relevant question. If DRP dies, DRPT dies, that's my current tool. Again, I believe a gap in the market will naturally form. It's a pretty good fucking tool. It has like 120 active users paying for it. So again, I believe kind of a crevice will shape. There will be a gap in the market and something. Or again, in general, my answer is like, you need a system that filters the junk. This is my system. To junk. Because again, the junk is relatively predictable. The junk is relatively predictable. And then lets you manually vet. And again, this is a game of vague. Oh, it should be vague. Probability. You could even use like a YouTube type system for this, but you'll have to be very specific with who you follow and what kind of. You could use X for this. Usually, I would recommend some type of dedicated platform that kind of lets you. Again, something I've realized is every successful form of trading, it doesn't matter what, like people like actually consistently win from what I've seen, they rely on some form of mechanical trading is law. They also rely on patience. Like, what is mechanical trading? Okay? They're connected. You buy when your setup appears. Now, a setup, again, it needs to be a list of things, essentially, one that you check off, two, or don't check off, 4, 5, and well, what if not single one? Well, there's your essentials. To me, the essentials is I get the call using the RBT. Okay, setup appears. And then there's some stuff that's just not as binary as it is in stock market. I consider these setup extras or setup plus equals manual. Well, it's more so, this is my call criteria. Well, I would say more so this is my actual setup. This is more so my call or a potential signal. Hi, Oz. This is where I check all my manual vetting stuff. Like what? Some stuff is usually I first check the Twitter nowadays because I think Twitter is king. I think why is it king? Because if you want to have to be quick into buying something and you can't really waste too much time. If the Twitter already looks amazing and it has active tweets, good tweets. Well, it's a new coin. It's not gonna have that much for sure, but good logo, good art. Again, well, that's after I've done the manual vetting, because there's some stuff that. This is my actual setup. Confirm actual setup. And then in general, also discipline. I know it's kind of like, discipline, but it really does like. And I think if you combine these, whatever system you have, you learn one specific. I think specific. I think specific might be one of the most important things. That if you have, what's the best analogy for this? I don't know. The one who tries to catch them all catches none. Auto is one. Like part of mechanical trading is like, again, know your markers. Okay, what else? Talk about chart patterns and TA. Yeah, so where do I begin? So first of all, TA for degens is fundamentally night and day difference compared to traditional. It's largely just, it's a holder analysis is much better. Holder plus narrative. kind of plays out on the chart a little bit. Why do I say narrative? Because those are heavily influences the holder, the sentiment. Right, okay, so I think largely, what about like Fibonacci and stuff? My strat is simply new launches, okay? That's what I focus on, it's what I try to get good at. It's what I optimize my queries for. Like, I'm fully convinced new launches will always be like king. They'll always be. They will always be popping. So, what does that mean for us? New launches, that there is no chart history, okay? There is no chart history. Which means that people will look at the chart to make retards, will briefly look at chart. It's a slight, small influence. What I mean is that, like, in terms of binary decisions, my takeaway is when something has dipped greater than, again, usually I would say 65, but you can even say 80%. It's probably over. I'm talking about that. What about like micro signals? Like, I don't think they really matter at all. Like, you know, so trying to determine shit like, oh look, there's an engulfing candle. Like, that shit doesn't really matter. And the quicker you can just switch that off and realize that, like, there is no one looking at this as in, like, no one looks at that. The only thing people look at is shit like this. Kind of more rudimentary stuff. I do think heavily inorganic candles, but that relates back to, what about Fibonacci? Fibonacci works when Fib is very good. Fib repeated plus something like volume or key interest zone fill. I don't know what to call it. Let's go hand in hand, okay? So again, we're talking about key retracement levels. That's what Fibonacci essentially tries to measure from a single move. A single move can be like, it depends on how you view it, but let's say this is launch and this is kind of this is the retracement that you want to measure. You could measure from here till here and from launch till here, and you kind of figure out what this is. And that can set a historical reference for when your child goes further, and you can kind of use that in the future, whatever happens, you know. And that tends to be repeated quite often. You know, why nature is fucking lit, I don't know. So fundamentally, my strategy is never snipe. Never snipe. Also, kind of a binary statement, or like related to chart, is 5 to 30k equals optimal entry. Again, depends a bit on, well, depends not, this depends in general, depends on the opening gap plus, I guess, kind of liquidity. Interesting. What else? What does it mean for something to be inorganic? So binary, but again, all of this narrative, which what I mean to say is, who's behind, like, at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? Who's behind all this? What about those vague patterns? Yeah, they do kind of matter, but like, it's not. But like, if you see a descending triangle, like, or a ascending triangle, which is which? Well, this one is. Well, this is the descending triangle, right? This is the ascending triangle. How so? Because this one. Are they the same? Not really, no. The lows are higher and higher, obviously. Here the lows are. Oh, the highs are lower and lower, sorry. Here the lows are higher and higher. And those kind of vague patterns do matter at the end of the day. A little bit. Like these are like, I would say 1% relevance maybe. Like people do look at them kind of, but it's 1 to 3. Alright, let's take a little break here.
Why build yourself?
I'm not meant to die in here.
Here, there. What's the difference?
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
What does that mean?
Rise.
I broke you. How have you come to that?
Why build yourself?
I'm not meant to die in here.
Here, there. What's the difference?
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
What does that mean?
Rise.
I broke you. How have you come to that?
Why build yourself?
I'm not meant to die in here.
Here, there. What's the difference?
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
What does that mean?
Rise.
I broke you. How have you come to that?
All right, to get the last 50 minutes here, I'm gonna end this one at 2 hours because I have to eat. I'm literally getting kind of a bit nauseous because my schedule was interrupted today. And then just relax for a little bit while eating, and yeah, do a second stream later today and just study. Today I want to try and minimize my, just in general, just a lot of time. I want to just do random crypto shit, just learn, absorb, be in the space. Again, not to where I would burn out, but just, you know, slowly and gradually increase my time in the market. Right, 50 minutes here. It's actually
Charlie Parker.
Parker didn't know anybody until Joe Jones threw a symbol at his head.
So that's your idea of success?
Okay, just a reminder, our filters are
Position of the
usable,
20th
right?
century is anybody's idea of success.
Like, could we improve them further? Of course we can always improve them further, but...
34 is not exactly my idea of success.
I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34 and have people at a dinner table talk about me than live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody...
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, gang. Whiplash.
Fine. This one is my broader one. This one is pretty... Well, I mean, 7 catches is nothing. And yeah, we'll keep it for now. I'll spend some time optimizing a little bit today off stream, or maybe second stream. I'll do off stream because it's not really relevant to me right now. The market's too dead to be optimizing. What do we want to focus on now? Let's do more TA stuff, technical analysis. Not on Ethereum, that's pointless for us. In terms of like entry level, like defining our entry point as best as we can. So, what was my actual last trade? Eagle Fund. I want to recap some of the mistakes I made there. This is another one of those examples that I did it like a 2.5x, but I didn't TP because again, a repeated flaw is not knowing the market you're in. Well, it kind of makes sense because the market has never been this shit, not for quite a while. 29 snipes, 1 dormant though. It's not bad. So there was not a significant post-launch dump. This is bad and good. The thing is though, like there was not a... How is that possible? That means if max buy was 2%. 20... $29 snipes. Is this bugged or what? These are not snipes. I think that's not really accurate. I don't think those were snipes. How did they get that number? Hold on. Let's confirm this. So these are all in separate. So this is the first one. This is liquidity being added. Yeah, there is no. Interesting. Maestro. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't really know how they got this, but this is why candle still matters. We saw the initial candle was very slow, gradual. And this still did like a 40k topper. Liquidity was very small. If I sold, I could have sold here. Enter maybe 10k. 40k topper. So sometimes, wait, hold on. I'm tripping, I swear to God. It's not adding up. So, hold on. So this one has supposedly 1 snipe. Dex tool is supposed to be more accurate than Dex screener, by the way, so. I definitely was sniped then. Delayed entry or what? Ah, okay, these are not actual snipes. These are also just people using sniper bots. Okay. Bot. Wait, what? I make it food.
I can play it, okay?
Said not now! If you want the fucking part, earn it.
This might be it. Am I forgetting that? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. First block could have been dead. I don't know. Why are these all snipers? Wait, they might be right. Hold on. Maestro. I think that's a gap in my knowledge. But then, what I still don't really get is liquidity is not that large, right? Is it? Initial LP, where is that again? Yeah, it's not. Because they're small buys, maybe, you could argue. I mean, even then, like... the candle isn't that organic because everything that else that follows is part of it. And here it says, I didn't know that, to be honest. Oh, well, I forgot about it. I did kind of know that, supposed to know that, but. Interesting. I get that a bit better now. Widen? I don't know. I mean, it's not the least inorganic. I mean, this is a 5x. Yeah, I guess I'm forgetting that as well. This is not like again, if we take this CA, we can see based on, for example, save A, or just in general, you can. Yeah, so initial was 1.3k and it went all the way to the first candle even. And this was not first block, so I did like a 6x almost. If this one did a 6x, that would have been, or this one only did like a 2x. And the difference in snipes and initial liquidity is what? Good question. This one had, well, try recount. Also quite high snipes. So what's the difference? A bit bigger. Yep. There it is. So this one had 24 snipes and Giggle Fund had 29 snipes. Hello? It's freezing. Jesus. I do think you should wait for confirmations in the actual chart also. Probably a good idea. When did we get the call though? I want to remind myself. So current is 11k market cap. Okay, so 2054. And again, like just in general, like if you're thinking like, okay, I get this call at 11k, which was like around here actually. Open the chart. I mean, 11k is always a very good market cap to enter anything, I would say. Like if you get the call, like if you think it's worth anything, like. But yeah, you can quickly do your research. Don't open a chart yet, just quickly see is it legit. Okay, what is it about? Okay, interesting. And then here you should, anywhere here you should have bought then. Your research should take no longer than 3 minutes. So if you got the call here, so let's say this candle had just opened, so let's be optimistic. 1, 2, 3. You're somewhere in this range here. So you would buy somewhere here maybe. And then Vitax is probably still, I mean 11k, what was Vitax at? Yep, buy and sell tax is still relatively high, so there's that. 40% off, 42, so that's what I'm saying. 2.5x would have been a 30k market cap, 35k market cap, and this could have been profitable. Your TP zone would have been somewhere around here. You could have timed the top maybe. Well, it's debatable, but you'll see that your slippage decently high, you know, sell slippage and all that. So this is not a conviction play at all. I shouldn't, why not? I'll tell you why. The Telegram was the signal hero probability that said, okay, this is probably not a good idea. The dev just didn't care. Like, it was like, I was asking, so what is this about? And he was like, just same thing as on BSC. And then he left. He didn't give a fuck. The accounts themselves were non-effortful, almost like distasteful. I don't know what to call it. Like, this wasn't great. And yeah, that was proven, I guess. What else could have told you not to stay away from this? The fact that it's like the narrative is not really it. Like, logically think about it. This is something that popped off on BSC. It doesn't really have a strong reason to do well on Ethereum. Like, think about it. Who would be the marginal buyer and why? Like the virality potential is like negative. Like, yeah, people are gonna hype this up again on Ethereum just for there to already be this thing on BSC. In other words, you could have entered this, but knowing, you should 100% know this is a 40k topper at best. 40k topper, I would say, is repeated in shit markets. I don't know why. They open up at like 1 to 5k, 1 to 6k market cap, and then they run to like 40k. And you want to put in small amounts, small profits, and you can kind of farm those a little bit. Could easily make a wage stay of money, for sure. What else? So no, Snipes definitely influenced the initial. So why was there only a 22% is not nothing, by the way. Can we just be honest real quick? Like, that is not nothing. Still, you could have waited for it. Why? I mean, why though? What if I just bought here? Because here's the thing. How do I explain this? You never know if something is at its peak or not, okay? What you do know is that it's probably very high that something near its initial peak will dump. So if you buy here, it could be that you would have bought here, okay? And instead of waiting a little bit for some type of dump, an opportunity to buy, like right here, you buy into the peak, the top. Never buy the top, never buy rising candles. Kind of a general rule of thumb, never buy into these things. Only here. So let's go with games.
Because I want to be great.
And you're not.
I want to be one of the greats.
So in other words, the trend line itself after that initial dump would have been kind of broken, right? So and any buy in this zone, not the upward fucking mooner to heaven, is a good buy. And obviously this was not gonna revive itself. I mean, straight to fucking hell. How? Because this is phase 1, okay? I don't know how people describe it, but phase 2 is something. This is launch, and there's a dump. This is not the micro dump we saw here, like where snipers and eaters dump. And again, keep in mind, part of this probability is like people. The narrative, the worse the narrative, the more people will sell, because the worse the diamond hands will be, the worse the kind of cult-like community would have been. And I repeat, narrative is the thing being sold. In this case, it's a BSC Mooner that does not hit our criteria. Well, it's kind of an edge case. Like, is it a first mover? No. Did the original die? No. And the moon. Did moon. Is it a second mover? Second mover has to imply that it's something not. It's like not just. It's not an exact clone. Usually. It needs a twist. This is it. It can't just be one-on-one. Like, and it's on a different chain. That's not great. That's not a great sign at all. Not a great sign at all. Alright, so that makes sense. I mean, I think partially the way you can tell as well, like intelligent traders, generally speaking, they get into something, they probably think it's worthwhile. Maybe. So if you look at safe A and so not so profitable wallets, that's already not a good sign, obviously. That can be used as an indicator as well. I kind of like that. I'd look at that once I've already considered the ratios here. What about top source? Top source is like fresh on steroids. Like, the higher the top source, the worse the imminent dump will probably be. But again, when you analyze this chart and you're refreshing and you see this happening, you're here, right? You see this happening. Don't buy. Don't buy. Ooh, pay attention. Ooh, reversal pending, maybe, and buy here. Why? The minute that you see a, what do you call that? Hammer candle? All candle types. Fuck, I forgot it. All candle types. The minute that you see like a, well, you could say any kind of sign of reversal, like a shooting star. What do you call the chart pattern that's like, no, not pattern, sorry, the candle itself, where it's like, say we had a massive downwards, or a massive sell-off, and then there's like this very small candle that shows the potential reversal sign, but it doesn't even have like it's just like a block. It doesn't have even the little lines. It's just one small bullish block. Is it Marbozu? I think that might be it. What's the implication of a Marbozu again? Like small green Marbozu in detail, like what it actually means after a sell-off. Like let's say I'm talking about, again, I only buy launches, so after usually snipes and eats have dumped. Hold on. Naked Crab Man. This pumped on Solana. What's the pattern with Solana, with ETH, Solana copies? As in, like, they came on Solana first and then they could, it's a probability probably right now. Website is not up, it's not a great sign. eBay. Is proof or what? Yes. Website is down. X followed by any alpha. Hold up. Not the worst list. Again, this is rescue. Sorry, Jack. July is pretty fucking low. Definitely less than 50%, I think. A lot of this, not really, it's not that much. I don't want to break my world back. I don't want to see how this plays out. It's interesting. Functions. Did I check them? I mean, yeah. No, I didn't check them yet. Did I? I did. Add a blacklist. I mean, this is pretty fucking.
Truth is, I don't think people understood what it was I was doing at Schaefer. I wasn't there to conduct. Any fucking moron can wave his arms and keep people in tempo. I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that is an absolute necessity. There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
What's your take on this? Interesting. Filter page looks kind of fine. You're missing a lot though. Yeah, for sure. But has a probability of doing okay. Should you put in 50? I mean, my filter didn't call it. Why do you think that is? Why did my filter not call it? Quickly figure it out as it's releasing. Or why do you think maybe? What's the most likely reason and or explanation as to why you shouldn't buy this? So this, well, there's not much information, but, well, why has my filter? There's no fucking info. Maybe I do get a call when it launches. I mean, everything looks fine. What are the odds, by the way? Like, how much that looks this good actually launches on a day-to-day basis, and what are the odds it fails based on simply this information? I mean, this is effortful as well. The hell, there's still... What happened to this coin, Mali? What are the peak at? You answer your question. 1 million market cap. Decent liquidity. Mali. And it's never really recovered, did it? Brutal. Pretty great. I don't know. Following Matt Fury, I mean, that's pretty damn good to me. Pretty damn good to me. I do really want to see how this turns out, even if I don't buy. Well, I shouldn't buy. It's not part of mine. Oh. I'm not gonna use this though. Not yet. How do I use this though? I mean, Alt 9 here. Is there another channel? Uh-huh. Fucking Chad, bro. I'm not gonna like. I ain't gonna risk it, but yes. Okay, so 5 minutes left. I really want to see how this plays out. I need to put that to the bottom though, like here. It's beta. I mean, now what? Where was I? Here it is. I ain't buying this yet, but well, I mean, I think this will do it decently. Like real talk. Let's see what's going on. Does it already? Interest remove. I mean, what's going on? That quick? Is bro trolling or what? How is there so many people selling already, by the way, guys? Different wall. I mean, this is the same guy, but I mean, just the same guys, I guess, he's selling through multiple. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? Bought, sold. Bought 20 million. So this guy bought 75. Okay, he just, these are smaller cells. That makes sense, I suppose. This guy bought, sold way more than he bought. Interesting. That worked. So 42. Let's read this. For your own info, for anyone getting discouraged on Sol, I found that it's all about your wallet pool. Finding a good sized pool of wallets, 30 plus, with trading activity match your query objectives. Early buyers, high win percents, low return investment, higher return investment, low win percent. Right? An absolute game changer. When you're able to run backtests with Surfer and match wallets, it's so much. Okay. I mean, I might save some of the tools so I know what to look for when I do flip the Solana. I mean, there's no harm in that, right? Sure, I mean. Snapshot. Lots to consider. There's a lot of hidden parameters, so that's the thing. So like, we're not talking probability parameters, we're talking parameters that the filter bot can catch that like this contract can't catch. Like what? Previous tokens, clog, I guess. I guess we have some buyer info usually. Most of our parameters, or queries, sorry. Yeah, shit like, you know, initial LP ratio, top sort, like, I mean, these are all, we can tell, I guess, gas raw, we could tell, most of these you can actually tell from the contract page, but probably minimum sus functions. Quick as rock though, that's for sure. The BL was what kind of set me off. Blacklist. Anyway, I'm gonna eat now. Take my second stream later today. Again, my minimum every day is 4 hours, so I just have to do 2 hours later today. Yeah. Gardening work. I'm thinking. I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure. It's not about, obviously, I'm gonna check. If that gets wet, I will not do it. Yeah. I might delay that for tomorrow and just lock the fuck in today. Today is it. It's Thursday. You know what? I'll do it, but I'm gonna do something first outside. Go on a little walk. I'll be back by like 5 something p.m. And then I'll work for like 2 hours. Do a rest. Try to get as much done as I can in those 2 hours, or 1.5 maybe even 1. Actually, we'll do a challenge. We'll do 1 hour. 1 hour of intensive work. Try to do as much as we can. I'm supposed